Good evening, Chicagoland. Welcome to our Friday night edition of Chicago Corner. I'm your host with the most, Jerry Vasilatos. I don't know why I'm in such a buoyant mood tonight, but it's always nice to come on and live stream with everybody. I always look forward to our live chat comments, sharing stories, sharing opinions, shooting my big mouth off for others to comment on later in the comments, or hear from my family that I talk too much. I'm just kidding. It's all good here. We have a good time on Friday nights. We're going to be joined shortly by Kit Cabello in a little while to discuss some of this week's news stories in the news cycle. A couple of them updates on stories we've previously reported. But in the meantime, before we go into the news cycle, when Kit can join us, because I understand he's probably still struggling with traffic, I have a special guest on tonight. Our gentleman's name is Mr. Don Davis. Welcome to the show, Don.
Mr. Jerry, what's going on? It's a pleasure to be with you today.
It's always a pleasure to have associates of Jamal Green and the Majesty All-Stars.
Yeah.
We're big fans of everything that you guys are all doing in the southwest parts of the city. And the reason I brought you on tonight was I heard of this very, very exciting initiative that Jamal and his organization are going to be sharing and presenting with Chicagoans tomorrow regarding the My Turn to Own home mortgage program. And I will be out there tomorrow afternoon along with my associate Casey, and we are going to shoot some video at the presentation so we can do another segment later.
Okay.
And also talk to some of the participants in the presentation. But I felt it was very important to have you guys on tonight to let Chicagoans know about this My Turn to Own program, which is going to hopefully offer home mortgage and home ownership opportunities for people in areas that you might not normally assume would be able to have the opportunities that others in other parts of the city have. So I guess where I'd like to start in introducing you to our audience is let us know a little bit about yourself and I guess maybe how you came into association with Jamal and what the My Turn to Own program is all about.
No problem at all. My name is Don Davis. Of course, real estate has always been a passion of mine. I purchased my first property when I was 19 years old, back in the good old days when we had stated programs. And I grew up in a family of real estate owners. My dad was a master electrician, things of that nature. So you pretty much, entrepreneurs and you, that lifestyle was pretty much an everyday norm to me. But I soon recognized that I was privy to information that a lot of my peers were not privy to. So I was always passionate about sharing information to help others on their pathway to financial freedom. As time went on, me and Mr. Green, we would cross paths here and there until one day we did a few panels together. I think it was a panel, and we talked about financial freedom together. And I said, geez, this guy is amazing. He is the next best thing since sliced bread, right? And we hit it off pretty quick, pretty easy. And we said, hey, let's do something amazing together. And it's the My Turn to Own initiative. So I'll tell you a little more about that as well. It's a movement to make home ownership easier for everyone. Our goal, our mission is to raise the rate of home ownership to 75% for all. Our program is a little bit different than the everyday program. Anybody can buy a mortgage, but we are taking the approach of holding your hand through the whole process, because in all actuality, in some of our communities or where we come from, the unknown is scary. So a lot of people say, nah, I don't want to buy a house. It's too much. It's too hard, things of that nature. So with people like that, it's not that they can't position themselves to buy a home. It's not that they can't position themselves to build their credit or leverage their credit or step into that door of financial freedom. It's just that it's a fear factor because they haven't done it before.
Let me ask you as you go on, what are some of those initial challenges that anybody who is interested and yearns to buy a home faces? I wouldn't even imagine. I wouldn't even know where to start because how do you find the right mortgage lender?
Yeah.
How do you make sure that you're dealing with the right agents or the right players to not potentially get into a money pit, or make sure that you can keep up with your mortgages? Because as we know, as we saw what happened in the 2008 crisis, a lot of mortgages were given out to people that couldn't afford it through no fault of their own, and there was obviously a lot of misinformation there. So, what are the challenges that you see that first-time buyers face, and how your group is able to help guide them through that?
The biggest challenge is we don't know what we don't know, so we don't even know where to begin. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it's hard to change the norm. And that's our goal, to change the norm of not having, or not where ownership is concerned, to ownership being the new norm. So it's, what's my credit score? I don't have enough credit. I don't have a job that's paying enough. I don't have any money saved away for a down payment. I don't know anything about assistance programs that, the state or the government may be offering for first-time home buyer
that they would qualify for.
The down payment for a home, it may be way too much, where the average person doesn't know that you only need 3 to 5% down. When you're dealing with single family homes, which is 3 to 4 units, it's 3 to 5% down. When you're dealing with investment property, 5 units and up, which is considered commercials, is 15 to 30%. But if you get like a $100,000, a loan, your down payment may be $3,000, give or take a little bit. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you break it down on the level where it's understood, then it's like, wow. And then another thing is not always buying the property, but what's the strategy? Like, one thing that we teach in our corner classes and our Zoom classes that we have weekly is strategy. The first thing is getting in the mindset of being a homeowner. What does that feel like? It's not always buying the house, but it's like, okay, now what's the process looks like to maintain the house? So it's a lot of moving pieces when you're talking about home ownership. But one thing that Mr. Green does well, he says, this is the problem and this is the solution. Let's identify the problem, but let's focus more on the solution. And I think that's something that he does very well.
And it looks like the My Turn to Own program, along with the website there at myturntoown.com, pretty much goes through, I guess, a few of the players that you guys have vetted or are working alongside to help provide education and information to first-time buyers. Tell us about the event that's happening tomorrow and what participants will learn and, I guess, get some guidance with.
Oh, no problem at all. So tomorrow we will be at, let me make sure I have, it's at University Center. It's 525 South State Street. Once again, it's University Center. That's 525 South State Street, and that's in Chicago, Illinois. Doors will open at 1 o'clock. The program is from 1 to 3, but we have some heavy hitters coming in. Mr. George Newberry, which is the CEO, he's going to be talking about what this passion project really looks like, and he's going to be giving us great history of redlining and how we got here. We're going to have people there talking, Mr. Robinson, talking about the debt cleanse process, because this program is offering several components. It's credit restoration, it's micro mortgages. And let me say what micro mortgages loan. Usually when you deal with banks don't do loans usually under 80 grand. It's not popular, quote unquote. It's been done. It's just not popular. And the reason why is because when you turn that into a 15 to 30-year mortgage, their profits is not sometimes worth even doing it. We are starting our loans at 5,000 and up. Do you hear me? So even if someone was to say, hey, I like that property, it may be dilapidated, it may be at the worst, but they're going to finance me for a $5,000 loan. And not only are they going to finance me for the loan, but they're also going to give me the money to do the work to the property to make it a grade property. So let's say even if you're in a debt of 50 or 60,000, I don't say debt like that because you have good debt and bad debt. So say if you're in good debt where you purchased a property for 5,000 or 10,000. Let's say 10,000, and you have to put about $50,000 work in it. That's $60,000. You have a $60,000 home loan, and your mortgage payments may be nowhere, probably about $350, $400, $500 a month, give and take. It all depends on the individuals. I can't give you flat prices, but it's a ballpark. That's a lot better than being in a renter's market where you don't own the property, and you're paying premium prices of $1,300, $1,400, $1,500, $1,600 in the same community that you're living in, that you could just easily go and buy something. We have credit builder loans, down payment assistance, courses and events, agent matching. So like I said, from the beginning to the end, we have something for everyone.
Yeah, I moved my microphone away. I was listening to all that. I'm actually adding the information to our show notes below.
Okay.
But yeah, I had to move my microphone because the Bluetooth signal interferes with my typing. But I think we're just about to have that information go in the comment or in the. I guess it's not going to allow me to add the information until after the broadcast. But everybody, I will add to the live chat right now information on tomorrow's event so that people can check out the website and also find it. Let's see if that goes through. There you go. So it's also part of the live chat. So who will some of the guests be that are speaking tomorrow?
Oh, no problem at all. I know Mr. Robinson to be speaking. He'll be talking about, debt plans. Mr. Mark Daniels, he'll be speaking as well. And what Mark is talking about is more on the level of, what does that process look like where, going after these individuals who have, we're attorneys and things of that nature to help you get these things off your credit, just what the whole process may look like. Mr. Green is going to be speaking tomorrow, pretty much motivating us and telling us what's next, what's the process, and what that looks like. So it's going to be several individuals that we'll also be having some great Q&As tomorrow as well. And then they may let me talk a little bit, who knows?
Do people have to register for this, or can they just show up?
Yes, it will be great to, you know what? I wish I had that information on me right now.
That's okay. I mean, I would think maybe at the website link, if people go through the link I put in the live chat, they can get all the information that they need. And hopefully there's some registration info there if that is required.
Yeah, please feel free to register. It's always best to register, especially with COVID and things. We want to get a grip on how many people will be there, but do not let that shy you away from getting this wealth of information. We'll register you in when you get there and make the best of it. Don,
is it an indoor or an outdoor event?
It's an indoor event.
Okay. And obviously it's going to be safe. We need to make sure that people are masked with this Delta variant we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, please. And if you don't, we have masks there. We're going to have the temperature guns as well. We're going to have the distancing and everything that we can do to the best of our ability to make sure it's a safe event. But at the same time, you can take advantage of this great information so you can be on your path to home ownership and financial freedom.
That's fantastic, Don. I really applaud you guys and everything you're doing, along with my cat here.
Wow.
He also very, very.
I gotta get one of those. That was a beautiful segue. That was a gorgeous segue that just took place.
He's a little ham. So I saw Jamal on a different note, and maybe you've got some inside scoop on this. I know that Jamal had tweeted, I believe it was last week, that he had been on a separate story, because we've talked with Jamal about the Majesty All-Stars initiative down on the south side with relinquishing the property to build that youth center. And it sounded like there were representatives of the city that reached out to him to, I don't know what, negotiate or hopefully enter into some kind of an agreement that the property would be available for them, given the drama that surrounded what happened a week ago when he went up on the roof, to bring some attention to what was going on down there.
Yeah. You know, one thing I will say about Mr. Green is you don't know what he's doing. I'm telling you, but you always know he's doing something. You don't know. By the time you find out the work that Mr. Green is doing in the community, it was probably a year ago, and you say, wow, I had no idea, and it's new news to you. So to answer your question, he's doing great things. I do think there's going to be change for the best, and he is a very resilient young man that he doesn't take no for an answer.
I like that about him.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I think we all have to be.
We got
down here.
You're right.
Listen, Don, I want to thank you again for coming on tonight to share with us what's happening tomorrow. I hope anybody in our audience that wants to learn more will visit the website at myturntown.com. Check out the link inside the chat that I shared. The time and address is also in there. Thanks for joining us tonight, and I look forward to meeting you tomorrow.
Thank you for having us, and we look forward to working with you again, Mr. Jerry. You keep doing great things in the community.
Thank you. I'm only, all I can do is share the great things other people are doing, and I'm glad I got a platform so everybody knows about it.
Hey, and I'm gonna give you some advice before you go. Keep the cat.
Keep the cat?
Keep the cat, man.
Oh, he's always here. I mean, it's his world, and I'm just living in it. And he will just, like, when he wants to come up and just like cross my face and stick his little face in the camera, give me a little kiss. He knows he's welcome.
Good stuff. Take care. My pleasure. All right.
Thank you. Take care. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Okay. Well, that was fantastic to be able to have Don on representing Jamal Green and the Majesty All-Stars and the My Turn to Own program. I am about to bring in my colleague and co-host for the evening, Mr. Kit Cabello.
How are you, everyone? I have some breaking news that I need to share here on Chicago Corner, and I think it's very important that we talk about this right away.
Absolutely.
It's deviating away from the show notes, but it will impact us. So earlier today, Daniel and I, we had the privilege of, going inside and moving some of our gear into the new studio location, which is fantastic. And this weekend, especially Saturday, we're going to be hauling a lot of stuff, and then Tuesday will be the big final move away from our old studio. However, as we were heading to the studio today to interview Compton J of Fred Hampton Leftists, Faze, who is our editor at our studio, informed us that we just got a strike on our YouTube channel over a video that's 500 years old. Now, again, if you go to the Heartlands Media Twitter account, you will see in the thread the video in question. Now, thankfully, we have our Odyssey platform. So this Odyssey video, it's of our colleague Kira McCown addressing the issues that Pornhub was accused of many days ago of having controversial videos, very controversial videos on their platform. And again, I have to be careful because of YouTube and trigger words. But if you check out the video on the Odyssey link, you will see that this video that YouTube flagged us for, it does not have any controversial videos in it. It's Kira basically covering a New York Times article. So now YouTube has given us a strike. So that means on our main YouTube channel of nearly 39,900 plus subscribers, Heartlands Media cannot go live.
Well, wait, you guys, I was prepping for tonight's show. I didn't realize you guys weren't able to go live tonight.
We were able to go live on our backup channel on Rockfin and Odyssey. Now, Rockfin and Odyssey, no problems. Rockfin and Odyssey, great. No problems whatsoever. But again, the issue at hand is that the video that YouTube has flagged us for, that has given us a strike, so we cannot go live, the link to it, we have an Odyssey link, and Jerry, I'll send it to you too as well. But basically, whoever is running YouTube, they relied on their algorithm. They relied on their bot program. I doubt a real human being even looked at this video. This video is 500 days old. Now, my colleague Daniel Lupker put in the appeals, and YouTube's only response to us so far has been, sorry to hear about the trouble. You should have received an email with details and steps to resolve this issue. We send emails every time there are changes on your account. Let us know if you have any other questions. Now, the thing is, what I want YouTube to understand is that we have that video on Odyssey, and everything that you have given us a strike for does not meet the definition, and we want the strike removed, and we want our warning removed, because this channel, the main channel with 39,900 plus subscribers, we cannot use it anymore. And that's a problem. And we want this fixed immediately. So YouTube has really hit Heartland's Media hard, and we want to resolve this issue. We ask everyone that's watching to politely retweet at Team YouTube creators, so that, you know, and plus we have the Odyssey link there as well to call them out. They're like, they need to remove this. And this is very, 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 very bad. Now, again, everyone that's watching, if you go to the Heartlands Media Twitter account, I pinned a tweet. In the thread below, you'll see the link, the Odyssey link to that video. Now, I don't care, you know, whether you're for us or against us, but if you look at that video, YouTube, everyone will come to the conclusion YouTube is clearly grasping at straws because it's Kira reading an article from the New York Times. And I have to wonder if YouTube has a problem with strong, independent reporters, women reporters, actually, you know, covering issues that are very important.
It's the same BS as you guys dealt with last time. This whole, you have to be an accredited news source. She's repeating news from an accredited news source, but she's not on a quote-unquote accredited news channel. And I just have to wonder if it just takes that long for these YouTube algorithms to like comb through all these videos to arbitrarily decide this doesn't fit their parameters when it clearly does fit their parameters. But since you've got no live eyes on anything, you can't get any kind of review immediately. But, you know, Kit, this happens with so many online platforms. You can't get a hold of anybody at Facebook. Everything is automatic, and it just blows my mind in this day and age when we're so dependent on the digital platforms to broadcast or do business through that businesses are not required to have a phone number with live tech support. And if it's not live 24 hours, at least some kind of a phone number people can get through to call attention to what has to be reviewed immediately when it causes these kind of problems for businesses, for businesses that are operating.
Yeah, exactly. So we are clearly upset about this, and we want this problem fixed immediately. And I'm going to speak right now for the entire team. We're calling on all of our colleagues. If they truly want to help us out, please retweet us. We'd be more than happy to be on your shows as well to really speak about this issue. And again, the Odyssey link, I'll give this to every single one of our allies. But YouTube doesn't know what they're doing. This is a video where they really screwed up. To every single one of our allies.
I just actually went over to Twitter. Didn't realize we were streaming live, but I shared the link so people can go to the Chicago Corner Twitter, which is linked below, and please share the tweets from Heartlands Media. I think if we get the our viewers and our supporters to also retweet this, hopefully it'll get the attention of the YouTube monitors through the Twitter algorithm to pay attention to the hashtag and look at what's going on here to review it faster. How long did it take last time when this happened to Heartlands Media? For them
last time, I believe it almost took about 2 weeks. I was on a 2-week tour on many channels: Jackson Hinkle, Nico House, Frank Analysis, Slow News Day, Lee Camp, Jimmy Dore, and so many other heroic individuals who helped us out. But this is this video that they flagged us for. They really don't know what whoever did this.
I don't know what the F they're doing. I guess I should temper my language so we don't get any strikes over here.
Yeah, but, so that's the issue at hand.
I'm sorry, Kit. I know how this really knocked you guys down last time, and I mean, at least maybe there's a little bit more strength this time because you know what the process is going to be to get reinstated faster, and it is going to depend on a lot of people retweeting what's going on to get YouTube's attention through Twitter, since I guess Twitter's not making enough money to hire any live agents there with any kind of a customer service line, even for people that are paying for premium accounts.
Yeah, it's madness. So, but anyways, let's return back to our scheduled program.
Yes, we will. And let me bring up, let's transition into our first story. You know who John Catanzara is, don't you, Kit?
Enlighten our viewers, because I think some people just don't know.
Yeah, John Catanzara is a real charmer. He is the Fraternal Order of Police president, and he represents their union. He has a 23-year history of misconduct. In his 23 years with the CPD, Catanzara managed to rack up 50 complaints from a mixture of complaints filed by everyday people and his fellow officers and superiors within the CPD. In 2007, he managed to rack up 7 complaints within a single year. In 2008, in 2 separate cases within the same year, Catanzara managed to save his job as the CPD sought to terminate his employment. Instead, the weak Chicago Police Board both times found him guilty of some of the charges, but reduced the discipline for Catanzara from termination to a suspension of 20 days in each case. Now, why do we bring this guy up tonight? Because apparently he feels that Lightfoot's a new vaccine mandate for law enforcement and the Chicago Police Department here in Chicago is like marching people into the gas chambers in Nazi Germany. I am going to quote from what Catanzara was screaming, I guess, on social media this week. He said that in regards to, well, let me go into the article really quickly, what's happening, what he's complaining about. She forges ahead with the October 15th vaccine mandate for city employees despite opposition from all 4 police unions. Catanzara says, this has literally lit a bomb underneath the membership. We're in America, God damn it. We don't want to be forced to do anything, period. This ain't effing Nazi Germany. And what surprises me is like what an aversion to authority Catanzara has regarding this when normally, you know, he's very authoritative about everything else that I guess CPD is supposed to get away with. I don't think he understands what it was really like in Nazi Germany to liken this situation with expecting our law enforcement officers to get vaccinated for everybody's safety, including their own. This is every officer in uniform that's not in an exempt rank. This is literally a little bomb underneath the membership. They're more enraged in this than they were even in the contract. And what are they going to do when 4,000 or 5,000 coppers say, screw you, I'm staying home. You're not making me get this effing vaccination. Don't pay me. That's fine. We'll see you in court. We're in America, goddammit. We don't want to be forced to do anything, period. This ain't Nazi effing Germany where they say step into the effing showers. That's the pills won't hurt you. What the F he said. Nobody knows what the long-term side effects could possibly be. Nobody and anybody who says they do are full of shit. Taking a vaccination that is shown to protect lives is like stepping into a gas chamber. And my mom tells me to clean up my language. That was the Fraternal Order of Police president, Mom.
Wow.
This guy's out of his mind. I mean, clearly, when you've got, I mean, this represents everything that's wrong that we wish would be righted with Chicago Police Department leadership. I don't know how this guy has been allowed for so long to represent the good officers in the Chicago Police Department this way. His comments led to the Jewish caucus calling for his resignation. And this comes to us from Skokie Patch, reporter Jonah Meadows. The Illinois Legislative Jewish Caucus responds to the Fraternal Order of Police President's comparison of vaccine mandates to Nazi Germany. A group of state lawmakers demanded the chief of the union representing rank-and-file Chicago police officers apologize and resign in response, and I would also say he should be resigning in shame, to his remarks comparing the city's coronavirus mandate to the Holocaust. After Mayor Lori Lightfoot announced this week that all city employees must be fully vaccinated against COVID-19 by October 15th, Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 7 President John Catanzara told the Chicago Sun-Times that officers of all ranks were united against the mandate. I don't have to repeat his potty mouth. On Friday, the 15-member Illinois Legislative Jewish Caucus issued a statement responding to his remarks. It described vaccine mandates as a vital public health instrument, especially in the case of government employees who interact with the public. But the comparison of vaccine mandates to the Nazi genocide is despicable. While we don't need to belabor the distinctions between poison gas and an FDA-mandated and approved vaccine, it bears saying vaccines are safe, they save lives, and the Holocaust is an unimaginable tragedy that happened to our people, not a flippant metaphor for the airing of ignorant, petty, aggrieved opinions, the group said. Catanzara has shown once and for all that his voice does not belong in civil discourse. The statement continued, we call upon him to resign immediately and to issue an apology for his intolerant and intolerable remarks to Jews everywhere. Also, according to Lightfoot's office, employees can apply for medical or religious exemptions from the vaccination requirement, and requests will be reviewed by the city's Human Resources Department on a case-by-case basis. The mayor's announcement of the policy did not include any details about mandatory testing for the unvaccinated or how the requirement would be enforced, although Catanzara suggested the city had threatened not to pay officers who refuse to get vaccinated. Fellow officers elected Catanzara in May of 2020 with 55% of the vote in a runoff election over incumbent Kevin Graham. He has since faced multiple disciplinary proceedings before the Chicago Police Department, and 2 superintendents have so far been unsuccessful in their efforts to fire him. And remember, this is the guy we're talking about, a 23-year history of misconduct.
Wow.
Kid, I mean, it blows your mind. It's like the dystopian nightmare continues, even as insofar as our elected or appointed officials that are supposed to be protecting us.
You know, I don't know what else I can really say that hasn't been said already, but, you know, this whole thing with this virus, who knows how long it's going to last, but these kind of analogies that, again, I'm still angry at YouTube, but, you know, that we're seeing a lot of people use are pretty offensive. And, you know, sadly, this is somebody who's been an officer for quite some time and, you know, with a long track record of doing controversial things, you would think by now, long gone. But again, this goes again to show just how corrupt our city truly is, or how inept a lot of our leaders are. And 2023 is going to be our municipal election cycle. Everyone in this city needs to know who represents them at the city level, at the county level. And we need to do something now to bring in much needed reform. Otherwise, this is going to keep on repeating itself.
I love what E. Heller shared with us in the chat. Aside from the vax debate, this quite stood out to me. We don't want to be forced to do anything because that's the Fraternal Order of Police's attitude. And Carlos Santos, love what you had to share also. When police want to enforce a measure, people can quote him. What's the difference? It's shameful. Utterly shameful. Speaking of shameful, as I move into our next story, anybody know about this? Do you know that Superintendent David Brown was suspended because City Council didn't know it when they were approving his appointment by the mayor's office? This comes to us from Chicago Justice Project, as reported by Lauren Cole, and this just came out this week. The Chicago Justice Project uncovered a past suspension of Superintendent David Brown during his career in the Dallas Police Department. Now, before I go on with this article, I want to go on record and say I've actually kind of been on the fence about Superintendent Brown until now. When I see this, and you want to give our officials the benefit of the doubt, as you want to understand and believe that, you know, law enforcement is supposed to serve and protect us. And the superintendent has been very vocal about, you know, mandates he wants to pursue, how he feels the police department has been unjustly painted by the media. And then you find out how transparent was Superintendent Brown when he was appointed or reviewed by the city council prior to Mayor Lightfoot's appointment. According to his personnel file obtained by the Chicago Justice Project through a Freedom of Information Act request, Brown was suspended after pursuing a vehicle into oncoming traffic and submitting multiple reports containing false information. False information. It's just like deja vu, especially here in Chicago. Due to the unusually rushed nature of this superintendent selection process, it is unclear if members of the Chicago City Council had adequate time to conduct an in-depth review of Brown's background. You'd think that they should have been given that time, and discover that he had lied multiple times during an internal investigation to cover up misconduct. More about the details regarding the suspension of David Brown are linked in the article. When searching for a new police superintendent, the police board usually announces 3 finalists to the mayor and public after reviewing all applicants. The mayor then interviews the finalists with ample time and opportunities for public vetting, feedback, and other methods for community input. Of course, remember, the previous police superintendent was involved in a scandal where Lightfoot had to get him out pronto and appoint somebody new to the position. Then after the mayor appoints a finalist, there's a confirmation hearing and vote by the Chicago City Council. Under Chicago City ordinance, this selection process is led by the police board. However, Mayor Lightfoot conducted private interviews of the finalists before their names were made public. She then chose Brown for the position just a day after the names were made public on April 1st, 2020. Additionally, Lightfoot stated that she had been considering Brown for the job since December 2019 after Eddie Johnson was fired. The Chicago Sun-Times even reported that the police board knew Lightfoot wanted Brown and chose two less qualified candidates, lame ducks, as finalists to make the choice more obvious. These actions led to many to question if she had subverted the selection. No, subvert the selection process. The mayor of Chicago? Come on.
What? Our Chicago mayor? Never once in the history of Chicago politics has a mayor ever done anything to subvert anything. Come on. Since when? Since ever.
I'm shocked. As former Mayor Rahm Emanuel had done with Eddie Johnson's appointment. Same as the old boss. New boss, same as the old boss, right?
Yep.
During Brown's nearly 4-hour-long confirmation hearing, his suspension was not brought up at all. The visualization below categorizes each question for Brown during this hearing by alderperson and topic. There you go. Right there. Lot of topics, and somehow that didn't make the radar. Did Lightfoot and the police board know about Brown's suspension? Was his suspension noted at all in this Rust selection process? Did members of the Chicago City Council have enough time to look over his record before confirming him? And what about Scarecrow's brain? I mean, we're supposed to believe everything that comes out from CPD because, you know, they're supposed to be transparent about everything. And a lot of what happened with Eddie Brown and his replacement had to do with finding someone with more integrity that was really, and I don't know that I'm going to argue Superintendent Brown doesn't have the job qualifications, but there's now a question of integrity and transparency and disclosure. And this always goes back to how are we supposed to trust the people, the law enforcement to protect us when it's rules for thee, not for me. We cover things up. We hide things to get what we want done. We don't care about the due process of vetting things properly. But you, the citizen, and anybody we shoot, that there isn't a police cam video that we can't cover up, that's unfair game.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Again, we need to have immediate political reform in our system. And the sad fact is that we know how bad it can get. We've seen these stories. We're barely scratching the surface. What upsets me is that there's still this attempt by our elected leaders to kick that can down the road. They know about the police corruption. They know about the police brutality. In 2017, maybe it's a little different subject, but in 2017, Daniel and I covered an event by the Exoneration Project where 16 black men were exonerated from crimes that they did not commit because they were given false evidence was planted on them, false charges were given to them by four Chicago police officers. And the thing is that there's more like those 16 gentlemen who were in jail, who lost a lot of their years. And so seeing this, I'm not surprised by the incompetence of our elected leaders. I'm not surprised by the incompetence of the CPD, but there needs to be much needed reform. Not a new academy. You could build a state-of-the-art academy, but if the corruption, if the incompetence is still there, nothing's going to change.
And they haven't disbanded Home Square yet, have they?
No.
That facility, the torture facility.
No.
Well, here's the interesting thing, Kit. It's not like this information wasn't easy to find had any other research outside of the city council review been done. So they say in the article that there were over 1,500 articles covering Brown's confirmation process from the Chicago Tribune, Chicago Sun-Times, CBS 2, NBC 5, ABC 7, WGN 9, and Fox 32. In fact, the only articles we could find mentioning his suspension were from the Dallas Morning News in 2010 after he was named the Dallas Police's first assistant chief and a 2016 timeline of his career. This indicates that at least some information regarding Brown's suspension was publicly known, but the Chicago media The mainstream corporate Chicago media did not conduct an adequate investigation of Brown's history or background in Dallas. The combination of the media's failure to report on Brown's history and the rushed superintendent selection process meant that the public was unable to judge the appropriateness of Brown's nomination and confirmation. But what Lightfoot wanted, Lightfoot got. As Brown wrote in Called to Rise, A Life in Faithful Service to the Community That Made Me, trust is the most important factor between a community and its police force, and the only way to earn it is through complete transparency. We hope that Brown will take action to support his belief in transparency so that the community of Chicago does not lose out on important and relevant facts again. So one of the research contributors to this article at Chicago Justice was Kaylee Foyle, and this is really quite an eye-opening article. Now, here's another thing. I actually came across this through an obscure news source on Google. I haven't heard our mainstream media reporting on this as we are here tonight through the Chicago Justice Project. So,
Wow.
We're going to probably subclip this as a show segment to put up after the live stream. Anybody that's interested in passing it along or tweeting it, I think it's an important news story, and you might want to also tag all of our mainstream news sources here in Chicago that this is certainly a story that warrants more examination and disclosure.
Absolutely. Well, here's the thing. We cannot ignore the incompetence of our elected officials, because the thing is, I remember in 2019 where there was this massive wave of trying to reform this politics in the city, and Lightfoot was riding that wave. She was running with the notion that she was going to bring in change. She never did. She kept things the same, and any form of criticism towards her, she immediately started to lash out against. We need a new mayor. We need a new city council, because if we don't, all these problems that we're dealing with now will only get worse, especially as we enter into the midterm election cycle. 2023, voter turnout must be key, but also we need people that are going to fight for this city, fight for it, and do right by its people that have been abused for far too long.
I'm noticing in the live chat, E. Heller, you're sharing a link that I can't open from my StreamYard console here, but can you share with us in the live chat, is that one of the local news stations covering what we were just covering? Because this just came across my radar tonight, and I believe it was reported yesterday. We'll find out from E. Heller an update on what that link was, but he did share something in the live chat that may take you to another YouTube video that we hope you will wait to watch after we're done with our live stream tonight, because we still have a few more stories to cover. But yeah, this is really disappointing, but not at all surprising, given what mayoral appointments and the cozy relationship. Although, I don't think that Lightfoot's got that cozy relationship with the Chicago Police Department. Maybe she thought that Superintendent Brown would help buffer that, but it doesn't seem to be when we've got what's happening with the Fraternal Order of Police in Catanzaro screaming like a maniac about how vaccine mandates are like going into gas chambers in Nazi Germany. Okay. So E. Heller, the link he shared didn't have anything to do with the story at hand. But let me move on to our next. Speaking about corruption and scandals, Kit, did you know that the lead investigator, the chief investigator, who was appointed to investigate this sexual abuse scandal within the Chicago Park District, was suspended? And he claims it was to obstruct the Chicago lifeguard abuse probe.
Wow.
Who would have thought that could happen? So this comes to us from Dan Miahopoulos at WBEZ Chicago. And we did report a little bit on these Park District scandals regarding the lifeguard assaults, as well as the Amazon locker deal that went through without any kind of oversight or reporting, before suddenly lockers were showing up in parks across the city like obelisks from 2001: A Space Odyssey. Tip of the hat to E. Heller, who brought up that metaphor last time we reported on this. The lead investigator for the probe into sexual violence against Chicago lifeguards alleged Thursday that Park District officials have forced him off the high-profile case in an effort to impede and obstruct the internal investigation. In a statement released Thursday morning, Nathan Kip, who's not Kit, but Kip,
Yeah, big difference. Let's make sure it is a big difference.
Who's the number 2 in the office of the Chicago Park District's Inspector General. Although I will say that what he's disclosing here was actually, meant to keep the story going and show what corruption is going on. Disclosed that he was put on unpaid suspension a week ago. Kit said parks officials gave him no reason for the punishment and he had done nothing wrong. Kip said he was only told by Human Resources personnel that his suspension was not ordered by his boss, Inspector General Elaine Little, but by unidentified officials from the Park District Administration, the same administration Kip's office is tasked with monitoring. The suspension and Kip's startling decision to speak out publicly came as Parks Chief Michael Kelly and other top district officials have faced increasing criticism for their handling of the explosive matter. This meritless action is a clear attempt by Park District officials to impede and obstruct a devastating investigation. And let's also mention, this has been going on for a year, this investigation. It's been dragging out for a year since women came forward into widespread sexual assault, sexual harassment, and physical abuse in the district's beaches and pools unit, Kip said.
Wow.
BEZ first reported that investigators have been looking into allegations that dozens of Park District employees regularly committed sexual misconduct against female lifeguards, including minors, at public beaches and pools across Chicago. The investigation has dragged on for 17 months. Now, Kip alleges that leaders at the Park District have repeatedly interfered with what was supposed to be an independent probe. What are they trying to hide? Why wouldn't they be transparent and let this go forward? I wonder if this goes higher than the lifeguards that have been reported on. And nipping it in the bud now could potentially what? Clear the trail from higher ups that might have been enjoying this culture of corruption by being able to prey upon young women without any kind of accountability?
What there probably is, maybe maybe I'm wrong about this, but I'm willing to bet there's probably maybe some video evidence that's very difficult to look at that shows this abuse. Maybe even a lot of photos, computers, laptops that have these horrible, maybe again controversial videos and images of this abuse. And this chief investigator who was suspended, maybe he was getting too close. Who knows? Really, I mean, the thing is, like, there's a million different perspectives to look at this story, but I'm wondering, again, like, what else is there to cause this reaction? Because again, these lifeguards, they're putting themselves at risk to make sure that the Chicagoans are able to enjoy the lake, be safe about it. And the thing is, if there's this kind of environment there, it's not only this abuse, but I'm wondering what other illegal activities were happening that we have yet to know about.
Well, especially at a municipal level. Unfortunately, we're too used to hearing these kind of stories within corporate culture as it gets covered up. This is the city of Chicago, the Park District. And for this investigation have been dragging on for 17 months, and we know that this kind of abuse has been going on for you. Look, this can't be the first time someone stepped forward. But it's got to be the first time that someone finally paid attention when they went public to cast a light on what's going on. Now, Kip has called, it's going to fall into Kim Fox's lap, because Kip has called on Cook County State's Attorney Kim Fox's office to take over the case from the Park District's Inspector General, said that he had lost all confidence in the Office of Inspector General's investigation and that the office had been methodically neutered by park officials. The OIG's investigation is not independent, and as Mr. Kelly falsely now this Mr. Kelly is a real piece of shit. He was sorry, I'm not gonna tone police myself. His investigation is not independent, as Mr. Kelly, who's the president of the Park District, falsely accuses, Kip said. Instead, the Park District and its Board of Commissioners have repeatedly and successfully exerted improper influence over the Office of Inspector General with the apparent goal of ending the investigation prematurely and as quietly as possible. Now, we know that there were other questions that came out, this is certainly less damaging as what happened in these assaults, but Park District just does what the F they want. Now they're trying to spin the story of the Amazon lockers that people are supportive of this. This from Block Club Chicago. And Mr. Kelly is going to fall into this conversation again. Some people think Amazon lockers in parks are great, Park District says amid uproar. in a news release, and we know those news releases aren't carefully doctored and prepared to spin things. In a news release titled "What People Are Saying About Amazon Lockers," the Park District highlighted 5 supporters, and 2 of those supporters you're really going to love when I get to them, Kit. Meanwhile, a Southside alderman has joined others in blocking them in her ward, and this comes from Mina Bloom at Block Club Chicago. Amid controversy over Amazon delivery lockers being installed in Chicago parks, 2 aldermen and several community leaders are speaking out in favor of the lockers, while at least 1 alderwoman reportedly is blocking them from her ward. Now, you want to guess the integrity of the aldermen who are supporting this? We got Patrick Daley Thompson, who the feds say lied, claimed he made payments on loans from failed Bridgeport bank, and filed false tax returns. Good old Patrick Daley Thompson, who we know is related to the Daley regime. And let's not forget Walter Burnett Jr., whose wife wrongly claimed 2 homeowner tax exemptions for 8 years to lower their property taxes. These are the 2 aldermen that are stepping forward that we know we can trust and believe in when they say that the Amazon delivery lockers and how they are going to help the parks, even though nothing was disclosed or reported before they were installed.
Hold on right here. You know what? Maybe these older people might know something we don't. Maybe they got their pockets lined with certain positive pieces of information. Forget it. Oh my God, it doesn't surprise me that those 2 are on board. Yeah. My goodness, like look. Hey, city council, I'm going to be generous here. It's not the 1990s anymore. You can't pull this thing off. Like, people know just how corrupt and inept the entire political system here in the United States. That's on a national level, on a city level. Come on. Chicago's #1 in corruption. Add in Washington, D.C., then we're #2. But, I mean, seriously, this right here, seeing these, evil, black obelisks of doom that you would see from, Space Odyssey 2001, it's just, come on. It's over. This just reeks of corruption. This is an insult to a lot of our green spaces because there's very few green spaces in this city. I'm wondering just how bad is it going to get? Are we going to see Amazon everywhere? Every time I go ahead, walk a corner, I'm going to see an Amazon thing, Amazon here, Amazon there. As a kid, I never would assume that we'd be living in a 1970s dark science fiction movie.
Dystopian nightmare.
Yeah, a dystopian nightmare. Thank goodness for Star Wars to actually change that narrative, because if you look at some of the other stuff that came out before Star Wars, I mean, it was some grim, bleak, dark stuff. And the sad fact is that there is no Jedi Order or rebellion that's going to save the day, because we're dealing with corrupt politicians that are allowing us to be surveyed, allowing us to constantly lose our homes, and now we're getting bombarded with corporations putting this propaganda in our green spaces, in every corner of the city. When is it going to end? Is Amazon going to be around us 24/7? Because this is like a man-made nightmare. They're literally building us into a maze, putting us into a maze.
I really need some comedy tonight. I'm trying to see if I can find the press release that was released from the Park District, as I would imagine authorized and approved by Mr. Kelly, whose department is also trying to squash the investigation regarding these assaults against women in the Park District when they were working as lifeguards. Unfortunately, I'm not finding a link to the press release. I wish they would have included it in the article. But Kit, it's just like it's out of control. I mean, we laugh. It's either we laugh about it or we cry about it, and I'd prefer to laugh. But
well, I mean, hey, look, I mean, pretty soon we're going to be seeing like robots on the street corner saying, "Buy at Amazon, shop at Amazon, don't forget to use eBay," or everything else. I mean, if you haven't seen that Elon Musk Android that came out, I mean, here we go. Here we go. I'm waiting.
I saw that, the one where it'll project its own face on it.
Yeah.
So this is kind of off topic, but as we're talking about dystopian nightmares in Chicago, I've only followed news with the Boston Dynamic robots, which scare the shit out of me because it's like I don't know how they couldn't follow the warnings of what we saw in the Terminator movies with Skynet. But Elon Musk's Android, I mean, it looks, from the pictures I saw, it looks very streamlined, unlike the clunky, blocky Boston Dynamic robot. So what is Musk's robot supposed to be able to perform or do?
I dread the thing. I truly do, and I'll tell you why. Because, you know, with that police dog that from Boston Dynamics, I'm thinking of Fahrenheit 451 and that robot dog that was sent after Guy Montag. I believe that's how you say the character's name. Where, you know, you put your scent and the dog hunts you down. We're entering into that nightmare. And you know, I don't know how artificial intelligence is truly going to react towards the complexity of human society, and especially what the human controllers put into that. But I wish I had hope. But we're living in a dark comedy. It's a dark cartoon, and Amazon looks like the corporation is going to be on our corners. It's going to be in our parks, and there'll be only a handful of people from the Gen Xers, the Millennials, and dare I say it, maybe even some Gen Zers who will remember a time when these corporations weren't everywhere. I mean, I remember when this wasn't the case. I mean, I understood there was always going to be corporate, or is it at like, you know, corporations being on the billboards or everywhere else, but now it's everywhere. And
They're
it's bombarding us.
Our entire city is being branded. Well, so they did release a little bit. One of the quotes. You need a laugh, Kit? Here.
I do.
All right. So here's this is what was in the news release issued by the Park District on Wednesday. And it's titled, What People Are Saying About Amazon Lockers in Parks. And this is from Daily Thompson. I commend the Park District for trying to creatively generate new revenue for our parks, Thompson said in the release. Not only do the Amazon lockers provide a benefit for our neighbors who utilize the lockers, it also generates revenue that goes directly into my pockets. No, I'm sorry, directly into funding park programs for our children. Remember Animal House? Blowjob! Blowjob!
What it is right now is just you can't hide it anymore to our lawmakers. Stop trying to hide. Stop trying to be nice. Stop trying to put on this mask. We know what you're trying to do. So, in fact, I will respect a lot of these politicians if they say, like, yeah, I took the bribe. Stop hiding behind the mask. Just, I will respect these lawmakers more. In fact, if our politicians were more, I'd be like, okay, fine. You're corrupt. You never cared about us at all. You don't even care about the idea of what this democracy is supposed to do for the people. But you're honest. I'd rather respect an honest criminal than someone trying to be an honest person.
The park board chair, Avis Lavelle, concedes she was not told in advance of a controversial commercialization of park space that involves hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. They didn't even get a good deal from Amazon. And E. Heller said this when we covered part of this story earlier last week. Was it last week or maybe this Tuesday? Look, put them in post offices. Put them in post offices where they're safe and secure. People going to post office, that's the logical thing to do as opposed to dropping them in parks. Now, what did Serrano say in this news release? The lockers serve a benefit to the community, especially because they are in a community with package thieves. I've not received any complaints through the PAC email. I like that they can be moved if needed, like if a mural was to be painted or something similar needed to be in that space. So, you know what this is taking revenue away from, though? They're preventing Amazon from having to rent a space in a corner commercial building. I mean, we've seen Amazon lockers inside corner commercial spaces, which is probably where they belong, or the post office, as E. Heller mentioned earlier this week. I mean, that when he said that, I'm just like, Jesus, that answer's right in front of us. But the fact that they didn't even negotiate like a really prime deal while it was behind closed doors does make you wonder, where's all that money really going until it finally, hit the front pages? Like, where the hell are these lockers coming from that they're blocking bike paths that people can like run into all across the city? Anyway, I mean, it's part comical, not shocking. I do hope that there's more pressure born to investigate if somebody got kickbacks from this deal, which is why it was all a big secret, or if they realized the shame that they would face by commercializing our public spaces this way for like next to nothing, like when they privatized the parking meter deals and made a little bit of money, and then suddenly the corporation that owned the parking meters made out big. I don't think that there are any parameters here on this Amazon deal that they have to pay more money based on what they were already charged up front that would actually benefit the park district.
Yeah, agreed. You know, I don't even know how we're going to really get out of this nightmare. Unless Amazon somehow falls apart, unless there's some way where people have even playing ground. The sad fact is, so long as we have older men and older women who are going to take donations like this, our city is going to see more of this. And look, in Chicago, if you have the cash, you can do whatever you want.
Well, here's the good news that we can kind of bring our show to a close on, Kit, is that a total of 49 Amazon lockers have been installed in city parks, and another 53 were scheduled to be installed. But after the public outrage, the park district put all locker installations on hold while it reviews the retail giant's plans. Park District spokesperson Irene Tostado said, "Myself and others in my office were not consulted by the Park District, and so that meant that I didn't even have an opportunity to bring it to you all to see. But from the comments that we've been getting in the calls, this is not something that people want to see," Harrison said at the meeting, according to the Herald. So at least they've been paused. I think that there's obviously going to be a lot more spotlight put on it. I think that the commercialization of our public spaces like this isn't any different from a lot of the outrage in our park spaces as they relate to the Obama Library, or when George Lucas wanted to put the Star Wars Museum on parkland over along the lakefront. I'm glad we've got Friends of the Parks also helping us when these situations come up for these secret deals that happen behind the scenes all the time.
Yeah, agreed. I think this, yeah.
No, go ahead.
Well, I mean, pretty much there's all we can do right now is for people to step up. If that's what can be done, let's make it happen.
I agree. Let's see some comments in the live chat tonight regarding this. James Root says, "Wait till they can send you advertisements in your sleep with Neuralink."
No, get out of my brain. Get out of my brain. No.
And E. Heller also brings up, yeah, it's true. If some dimwit from Amazon who was like dropping these things off hadn't parked one in the middle of a sidewalk, we probably wouldn't have even known about it. And you know what, E. Heller, that's true. Because what brought it to attention was people saying, why is this blocking the sidewalk, as opposed to like being pushed up against the side of a building or up against a fence. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, well, bringing our Friday night broadcast to a close, I want to encourage our viewers, please like and subscribe to Chicago Corner. Please go to our Twitter and the Hardlands Media Twitter and share and retweet what's happening to get the suspension lifted from Hardlands Media as it relates to YouTube. Because, more bullshit, different day.
I will say this right now, 5 minutes ago. So here's the thing. 3 hours ago, YouTube sent us this. I mentioned it earlier. Sorry to hear about the trouble. You should have received an email with the details plus steps to resolve this issue. We send emails every time there are changes on your account. Let us know if you have other questions. YouTube, 5 minutes later, because I actually have been, multitasking by also tweeting out at YouTube and how they've been screwing up. YouTube sent this to me right now.
Oh.
Thanks for getting back to us. Mind sharing the YouTube video URL as the one you've provided is from a third-party platform. It's Odyssey. That's the one I sent. We'll take a closer look at your concern once we hear from you. So what I'm going to do right now is message Daniel about what YouTube has just sent us, and then we'll find out what exactly they did and how we can fix this problem, because I'm very tired of dealing this with YouTube, because it's not only us, but it's other content creators that are dealing with this madness too. It's not right. We as people deserve a better system of video sharing, video platform, and free speech. So I'm very angry.
Chicago Corner isn't big enough yet to get these kind of strikes because we have under 1,000 subscribers. But hey, everybody, share our link with your friends, get other people to subscribe, and hopefully we will be dangerous enough that YouTube also issue strikes against us. But in the meantime, to help support the channel, you can go to our Cafe Press page and get this stylish Chicago Corner mug to help with our streaming expenses and other overhead that we hope will be helpful as we are growing our channel. again, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends, retweet us on Twitter, Facebook. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what more has to be said. I'm hoping that stuff resolves itself with this predicament that Hard Lens is in the middle of. And I'm sure we'll be getting updates throughout the weekend. Hopefully the weekend won't impede faster results, turning things around.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I do appreciate being on your show.
I love having you.
Chicago Corner is a great channel. No, you know, I was actually looking forward to being a co-host earlier today with a brighter mood, talking about, how awesome it is moving into our studio. Once again, YouTube, you know, it used to be a meritocracy, but now we're not in that time. And this hurts us because, look, that channel gives us resources and revenue needed so that we can keep that studio going, because there's a lot that we're going to be working on, and I'm going to keep things a little hush. But, you know, I know that you and Lainey have talked about, you know, the radio station that we were working on, that you guys are working on. I'm looking forward to hearing more about it. But if we're going to be losing this channel or having to continue to strike, I don't know what the future of Hard Lens Media will be. Are we only going to be on Rockfin and Odyssey? I don't know. But this is some very challenging times for us all.
The landscape shouldn't be. The landscape was shifting to give more voices opportunities to be heard, and now it's shifting to quash them.
Gotcha.
That's the problem. Also, one last show note tonight. We had Don Davis on from Jamal Green's organization promoting their My Turn to Own mortgage presentation tomorrow. We're not affiliated with them, but all we're doing is sharing the news. People, you can attend the presentation, and hopefully there'll be some good information there. If you're a first-time, want to be a first-time home buyer, vet what's going on there. We'll be out there to cover it and hopefully do a segment on it in the future. You know, if it's happening on the streets, you'll hear about it here on Chicago Corner. So with that said, please, everybody, have a safe weekend. Be safe. Kit, once again, thanks for joining me tonight, and we will.
I have something interesting.
More breaking news. Breaking news.
More breaking news. They already reinstated the video that they took down.
Yes. All right.
However, it's not over yet.
Okay.
What I'm going to do for Team YouTube, because we still have a warning on our channel, we're going to tell them that they need to remove that warning that's on our channel as well. So
I'm glad to see that the progress was faster this time around than last time.
So hold on, it's not over yet. Everyone, don't celebrate just yet, but we got to fix this problem. But I want to thank everyone for all their support, but it's not over yet. Unfortunately, I can't. Daniel's still doing some more work at the old studio, so I got to take care of some things. I also
You do that, man. All right.
Head on out.
All right, I got to head out too for a friend's birthday. But listen, Chicago, stay safe. We'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.
Bye.